And welcome guys to another live stream on the Wrong Side Simulations channel today. Got an exciting one for you. Today we are going to be operating the United States new air carrier Breeze from where are we at? From Hartford, Connecticut down to Norfolk, Virginia. Should be a fun one today. So yes, let's jump straight into it. So we are in cold and dark. This is a launch flight for the day. While we're waiting on that, let me grab my checklist because we're going to need it. Wait for that on back to extinguish. Then we'll go to IR number 2. And if you're hearing some sounds in the background, that is my dog leaving the room. She's been laying next to me all day, and I guess now that we got the live stream going, she don't want none of it, so she is gone. Alright, got the 8 ears aligning. Start from the bottom. Crew supply, come on. Ground control, CBR test. Come across to our nav lights. Leave the APU off for now. The seatbelt sign will stay off since we have not yet fueled. No smoking signs, come on. We'll arm the emergency lights. Not sure what the temperature is like yet, so we'll just go with the happy medium on the temperature. Jumping down to the McDo. We'll go to the ATSU AOC menu. We'll init. And we'll initialize our flight plan that I planned through SimBrief. Now today I was going to do VATSIM. Then when I went to open the VATSIM client, I realized that I did not have it installed. I recently had to wipe my computer completely clean and never did reinstall it. So then I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do PAX today since I can't do VATSIM. Also have not reinstalled PAX either. So today will just be a bare basic flight from A to B. But while we are en route, I want to talk a little bit about Breeze. Look up some stuff on their website, some other any other stuff that we can find, and learn a little bit about this new carrier. Alright, so on today's fuel plan, our block fuel, as you can see, is 11.9. Taxi fuel, that's probably a bit much, but that would be a typical standard, at least what I would plan at my airline. For a short taxi like this, that'd be around about what we'd plan. And then our trip fuel on this Neo showing about 5.9, 6,000 pounds, which would also be about what I would expect. So we'll load that. Come over to our zero fuel weight, our planned zero fuel weight, and I'm cross-checking everything on the McDo with my SimBrief flight plan, just to make sure that everything carried over the way that it's supposed to. Our planned zero fuel weight is 109.8, and that's roughly about the same, just a few pounds off, not a big deal. So actually, so that's not correct. I'm not sure where it's pulling that from. So I'm going to go back to SimBrief. I'm going to regenerate. Not that y'all can see any of this. Alright, so 109.8. Now let's see what it does. That's weird. I wonder if we can change it. Well, that's not good. That's a lot heavier than what was originally planned. Let's see our payload. I'm not sure why it's doing this, and I don't appreciate it. Alright, so we'll go back into SimBrief, and I'm going to change the zero fuel weight to what we see here on the McDo, the 116.9. And we'll plan for that. Now this is the kind of stuff that you know, real world pilots have to check. You want to make sure that the zero fuel weight, your actual zero fuel weight, is relatively close to what you have planned. If it's higher, then you're going to see what that's going to do to your fuel burns. If it's lower, then obviously you'll have better fuel burns. In a lot of cases, there will be some resets that have to happen. At my airline, in this scenario, if I'd planned for a zero fuel weight of 109 point whatever it was 8, but we've got an actual of 116.9, so we have a lot more passengers than planned because maybe another flight on the same city pair canceled and they moved all those passengers over to this flight. We would have to do a zero fuel weight reset, so that the zero fuel weight reset's kind of a safety net, but also is to make the crew aware that obviously the zero fuel weight is higher or lower, and we'll reevaluate what we need to do on the fuel based off of the new zero fuel weight. So got this planned. Now let's just, for shits and giggles, let's see what happens if I do OFP request. Still nothing. So interesting. That stayed the same. Weight and balance. So now it's got new fuel of 12.1, which is the new fuel. Keeping the zero fuel weight. Okay. So now we'll have the new fuel load for the higher zero fuel weight, which is good. We'll do a weather request at Bradley. So we'll have that, and while we wait for that, we'll start our diff strip. So aircraft status, make sure our nav database is current, and it is. So that's good. We'll init. So Bradley, Norfolk. We are Breeze Airways. I don't know what their call sign is. Let me look up their call sign. But Breeze Airways, flight 401. Flying a cost index of 40, which I don't believe is modeled still. We are in the development version today. I like to run the experimental, but I've noticed that the experimental has quite a few bugs. They're not even so much bugs, but it's just unstable. I've had a lot of crashed desktops with it. So out of an abundance of caution, we're just going to fly the development today so we can at least get through the stream. Going to cruise at flight level 340. On the flight plan, we're going to depart runway 6 on the, what is this departure called? The Coastal 9. Throw that in. Insert. We're going to kill this user fix. Now for Norfolk, we are planning to arrive on ILS 5. There are no SIDS or stars, so we'll just insert that there. One thing we have to be mindful of is it's going to take us direct to the Norfolk VOR and then to the initial approach fix. That's probably going to have us flying over the airport and then circling back around and coming back over to the initial approach fix. So what we'll end up doing is when we get to solved, we'll just go direct to the initial approach fix and we'll completely cut this out because I don't think I can get rid of it. No. Cool. So flight plan is done. Secondary flight plan, we can't use RadNav. Not sure if there's any nav aids nearby. Doesn't look like it, at least on the highs. Nor the lows. We'll do Hartford. HFD. Alright, so that's in there. Pretty sure Norfolk has one as well. So we'll plug that in, we'll hard tune those. So RadNav is done. We'll go init B. Put in our zero fuel weight, which is alright, so something's up with the way this thing's calculating. Oh, actually, I know what it was. I didn't start boarding. So let's see. Weight balance. Next one over, and we'll start the boarding process. Make sure it didn't change it again. Alright, so in the init B page, what you would do in real life, because you have to wait, you'll have your planned zero fuel weight, but then once you get your actual zero fuel weight, then you would go and put that in. So let's say if like today we were planned at, instead of 116, it was going to be planned at let's say 120.5. And this was our planned zero fuel weight CG. Block fuel of, we don't have our fuel yet, it's got the old fuel. 12.1. So that's what would be planned. Performance, we would wait until the airplane is boarded up and send for our performance numbers. We do know the transition altitude though is 18,000 feet. Alright, let's go back to this ATSU thing. This stuff is throwing me off today. Load it. Alright, so now we got our fuel. And we are completely boarded up. But we're going to come back to this. Say that we're still boarding. So flight directors are on. Constraints come on VOR 1 and VOR 2. Let's pull the METAR. Alright, so Winds are variable, 10 statute miles, few at 4,500, few at 20,000, temperature 17. Sounds like a pretty nice temperature. Dew point 6, and the altimeter is 2995. I lost my mouse cursor. Why is it when I push the left arrow, my mouse goes away? Alright. Standby is in. On today's departure, the top altitude is 4,000. So we'll put that in. Alright. So, boarding is complete. Send off for our numbers. You would put in your passengers by zone. There's a lot of stuff you put in. If I remember off the top of my head. Runway. If it's dry, wet, contaminated, and what the contamination is, and then the level and that kind of stuff. Wind temperature altimeter. Any additional crew members. You put your passengers in by zones, so that would be adults, children, as well as infants. Infants are included into the adult weights. Your bags by compartment, standard bags, heavy bags, as well as freight, and then also fuel on board. And then that will, you shoot that off, and then you will get your numbers back, and it'll give you all kinds of good information like zero fuel weight CG, engine fail procedure. Let's see what else. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. It's a lot of stuff. Engine fail procedure. Obviously your V speeds, what's limiting, whether it's obstacle limited, field length limited, that kind of stuff. What else? Your max takeoff weight, your takeoff weight, takeoff weight CG, accelerated stop distance remaining, bunch of good stuff. So once you get all that, you plug it all in. You put it in obviously into this page. Oh yeah, it tells you your flex temp, your flaps, your acceleration, climb altitude, all that good stuff. So from there you'd put it into here. We're very light today. We've only got 65 passengers. This time of year it's very light on the travelers. Hey Jim, what's up, buddy? I don't know how long you've been sitting in here, but glad you were able to stop by. We're just talking about something that you'd be very familiar with, shooting off, doing like a radio closeout or shooting off for numbers and the information and data that gives you. So anyway, so we'll say our performance numbers came back. We got flaps 1 with a flex temp of 70 since we're really light today. Acceleration altitude is 1670 off the ground. Actually, that'd be 1500 feet off the ground. This would be MSL. Thrust reduction, acceleration, climb altitude is about the same thing. And then engine out, acceleration, climb altitude. That would probably be a little bit lower, but we'll just leave it in there. Our V speed is 125, 126, and 130. So all those are set. Everything looks good on the flight control unit, the FCU. So now we can go back to NITB, and I guess it auto corrected itself. Put in our actual zero fuel weight that we got and our CG that we got from the performance request that we hypothetically did. Alright, so now that that's done, just about ready to go, so we can turn on the seatbelt sign now that we're fueled, and we'll start the APU. So it looks like they got some new animations on the cargo door. It used to open very fast and close very fast. Now it looks much more realistic. Alright, so APU is now available. We'll disconnect the ground power, pull the power. We're going to run a 3-minute timer. From checking out A320 Sim Pilot, they were talking about chrono, or he was talking about the chrono. And I don't know if this is something that we do at my airline, but he was saying it's a new procedure now that you have to give the APU a 3-minute warm-up, just like you do your engines, before turning on the APU bleed. So we'll do that. While we're waiting on that, we're going to pull the jet bridge and lock the door. Cool. Showing that we have a company message. Don't know why it's saying that, because we've already checked it out. And it's still showing. So maybe we're going to be stuck with that for the whole flight. Alright, so let's do a quick departure brief. So we are at gate Alpha 22. We'll push back, and we're going to do a 2-engine taxi, so it's going to be a real quick taxi. And we'll taxi out on Sierra, left on Charlie, and then short of runway 6. We're going to depart off of 6. We have just under 9,510 feet of grooved dry runway. This it should be. This is the wrong airport. We need there we go. So it is grooved, and for takeoff we've got 9,509 feet, 200 feet wide runway, so that's good. It will be dry. We'll be departing on the Coastal 9 departure. Off runway 6, we'll climb on assigned heading, which will just be runway heading, and then radar vectors to the Hartford VOR, a top altitude of 4,000 feet. So as you can see, we'll take off of 6, and then we'll head south to Hartford, which we have hard tuned into the airplane. And then not sure. Oh yeah, we're going to be transitioning off the SID at Calverton. So we'll fly this. Weather's not a factor, terrain's not a factor. Any issues before V1, we'll stop on the runway and handle it there. If any issues arise after V1, we're going flying. At our current weight, see, we're 129,000 pounds. Our max landing weight on this airplane is 145. So we are below max landing weight. If we need to come back and land, we can do that. If anybody has any questions, post them in the chat. As of now, looks like we're good to go. We got a 3-minute warm up on the APU, so we'll start the APU bleed, or turn on the APU bleed. Turn on our fuel pumps, beacon light, and let's call. Make sure that everything's clear. It is. And let's call up the tug. And while the tug is coming up, let's run a checklist. Do before start checklist. Maintenance log and tail is on board and checked. Cockpit prep's complete. Gear pins and covers removed. Signs are on and auto. ADIRS, nav. Fuel, man required is 10.7, and we have 12.1 on board. Altimeter's 2995 set. EFB is checked. Windows, doors, and slides are closed and armed. Beacon is on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on, and transponder is in auto. Before start checklist all the way is complete. Alright. Now that we're ready to go, we'll release the parking brake and let Senior Tug get us going. Drives me nuts that you can't control the airplane while still moving drone mode. That's kind of dumb. So right now I'm in drone mode, I'm moving my rudders, nothing happens. Turn on control, then I can move the airplane, but I can't move the drone. Pretty dumb. Alright, so we'll stop it right here. Set the parking brake, and we'll clear the tug out of here. Alright. One thing I forgot to do, because I'm trying to do all this cinematic stuff. If it were up to me, I would never leave the cockpit, because I feel like there's always something to do inside the cockpit. So we forgot to run our block time. We've already been out for at least probably 2 minutes now. Alright, so now we're clear to start engine 1. Engine mode selector to normal. Start engine 1. We do have more than 25 PSI on the APU bleed, which you need to start the engine. It'd be great if at some point fly-by-wire could model varying APU bleed pressure. Then you would have to for sure check, make sure that you've got it. On the FS Labs, there was always some varying pressures coming from the bleed, and if you were just to do the ignition to normal and then start 1, you'd get a ding because there wouldn't be enough bleed or bleed air. And I always enjoyed that level of immersion and systems. So Jim, not sure what you're doing right now. Not sure if you're at work or if you're chilling at the house. If you're at the house, do what I'm doing. Get you a nice cold beer. I don't know if you can even see that. Where's my OBS at? Boom. Yeah, get you a nice cold beer. This is Lion's Juice from Tactical Brewing Company in downtown, well, I guess it's not downtown Orlando, but somewhere in Orlando. It's really good. It's kind of it's a little too sweet for me. Kind of tastes a little bit like Roscato wine, even though it's beer. It's like, you know, Roscato is kind of carbonated, so it's a lot like that. 7.5% alcohol. It's good stuff. Alright, let's see. Get us a different view. Alright, let's start engine number 2. It's a good looking engine right there. Cheers. just about ready. There we go. Engine 2 is available. Let's start 3-minute warm up. And after start flow, engine mode to normal, arm the spoilers, reset rudder trim, flaps 1 for takeoff, TCAS to TA. We'll trim the aircraft, so our trim, if you go to the init B page, is 24.9. And the way that you would look at that here, for those of you who don't know, you got your CG on the right side. So you can either do it in like down 0.7 or up 2.5, whatever. Or you can just do it by the percentages of the CG. So this one would be around about there. Alright, it is a 2-engine taxi, so we'll kill the APU. Turn on the taxi light. And we'll do an after start checklist. After start, engine anti-ice is off, yellow electric pump off, rudder trim 0. After start checklist is complete. What the hell did I hit? Damn it. I hit a button. Oh, okay. Let's get off of there. Arm. Boom, 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 boom. Make sure everything is how I had it. Yes. Alright. Here we go. Brakes release. That company message is going to get on my nerves. Brake check. Pressure is green. Now, since we're still on the engine warm-up, we want to make sure that we don't give too much throttle. And the next thing that we'll do, once we get on the straightaway, we'll do a flight controls check. After flight controls check, we'll do our before start or before takeoff flow, then before takeoff checklist to the line, and then once we're short of the runway, we'll do below the line. Alright, so clear left, clear right. Alright, flight controls check. Full left, full right, neutral. So that everybody can see. Full up, full down, neutral. And this is going to knock me off the taxiway. Rudder full left, full right, neutral. Flight controls checks complete. Now before takeoff flow. Weather radar, predictive wind shear, TARA, max auto brake, status page check, TO config, and we'll ding the flight attendants.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
Alright, so once we make this left turn, we'll do the before takeoff to the line. And since we're just about ready to go, we'll go ahead and get rid of my face. Can we clear out this damn company message? Ugh. Whatever. Alright. Before takeoff checklist to the line. Gross weight comparison is complete. Pitch trim is 25% CG set, V1, VR, V2 flex, 125, 126, 130, flex 70. Flight instruments checked, flight controls checked, ECAM MO, takeoff all green. ECAM status is checked, predictive wind shear is on auto, TCAS code set to TARA, cabin crews advised, mini brief is complete. Before takeoff checklist to the line. Alright, so now that we are short of the runway, we'll do before takeoff checklist below the line. Since we're going to stop, Kill the lights. Alright, below the line, takeoff runway. Runway 6 is confirmed. Fuel required is 10.7, and we've got 11.9 on board. Engine mode selectors normal. Bleed packs are set. I can't talk today. This beer's like giving me some thick spit or some shit. Put this checklist where I can see it. Alright, we are ready to go. Boys and girls, we have our 3-minute engine warm-up, so we can restart that timer. And we'll get underway. Clear on the approach and clear on the runway. So we're going to depart on runway heading. And then we'll turn to Hartford. So runway heading is 058. And we are ready to go. Throttle up 50%. And flex. Man, flex SRS runway auto thrust blue. $80 knots, thrust set. There's V1, hand off throttle, rotate. We got a positive brake, gear up, disarm spoilers. Now it's telling me lever climb already. We know that's not true. So our acceleration climb altitude is 1,500 feet off the ground, 1,600 MSL. So we're just going to keep on climbing. Once we get to that, then we'll do it. Alright, so there's acceleration, climb altitude, nose down, got a positive trend on the airspeed. We'll go speed. This thing is like in a go around mode for some odd reason. Go flaps up. And let's see if we can't get this thing out of this go around mode. So we'll go flight plan. No, we won't direct. Hartford. That. Just turn and level off. This is getting task saturated real quick. Just gonna keep that turn coming around. Yeah, when it said runway track, that indicates a go around mode and not just departing on a heading mode. But that's probably because we didn't depart LNAV or in nav mode. and that's just going to be a glitch because it's, you know, it's fly-by-wire and the systems aren't, you know, super in-depth, correctly modeled yet, so, you know, to be expected to some extent. Let's get our altitude back where it's supposed to be, and let's go back to direct. Hartford again. That should draw a straight line-ish for us. Get that coming back. And once we get lined up, we'll get back to climbing again. Alright. So now, go LNAV. And we'll climb up to flight level 200, open climb. There we go. Trying to chase those flight directors. Bobbing and weaving, up and down. Down and up. We are in icing conditions now that we're entering visible moisture below 10 degrees Celsius. There's more to it than that in the airplane. I was talking to some pilot buddies of mine, and it's like a combo of the static air temperature and the total air temperature. I don't know exactly what it is, so for me to make it a little bit simpler, I just go 10 degrees or below on the static air temperature with visible moisture, icing conditions. Alright, 1,000 to go until 10,000, and then we'll nose down and accelerate. There's 10,000. Nose down. Cabin pressure, excess altitude. Alright, well. So let's figure this out. Let's go back down to 10,000. Shut that up. Engines aren't even doing what they're supposed to do. It's supposed to be slowing down now because we're clearly... Ugh, this is falling apart. Engine still won't roll back, so I'm going to go thrust idle. I'm going to level off. I'm going to bleed off some speed. Alright, so there's 10,000. Let's just hang out here and sort this issue. For cabin depressurization, like if you were higher up, you'd want to make emergency descent to 10,000 feet. We're already there, so we're just going to chill out right here. We know we're good on the pressurization. Alright, let's see if it'll hold that speed. It keeps just wanting to accelerate. It's not like our thrust is connected or is engaged. We got 304 selected, and it's still just accelerating. This is going to shit in the handbag real quick. Alright, let's do this. Autopilot. Full heading. Alright, so we got to remember that auto throttle's not engaged because we're just going to keep on bleeding speed. So if we go manual, Just kind of manually giving it some throttle right now. Try to maintain that speed. So I'm just kind of rocking my brain right now, trying to figure out what we should do. Let's put 11,000 feet in and let's climb and see what the airplane does. If it dings at us. Yep. Cabin pressure, excess cabin altitude, crew oxygen mask on, descent initiate. I don't even know what this. We've got our cabin altitude to 800. We would need it to go like to 8,000 feet. Wrong switch. Still holding the button down. Now it's staying at 800. It's not doing anything. Alright, well. So let's run some numbers in SimBrief. First thing we'll do is we'll drop our altitude back down to 10,000 and see if we can complete the flight at 10,000 feet if we got the fuel for it. Looking good on speed. We're slowly accelerating, especially now that we're descending. I am using manual thrust, because auto thrust is also not working. Cabin pressure again. Alright, let's see. What would we need? I don't think you can do block fuel. Like, what I'd like to do is just put in our block fuel that we left with and run it like that and see if that was going to be enough. But there's another way of doing it. So we'll go flight level 10,000 feet, so it's going to drastically burn more fuel. We don't need this because that's going to go into required fuel, generate. So this, what you're seeing right now, is kind of a scenario that if this happened, I mean, in real life, if you have, like, if the cabin pressure, the pressurization is not working on the airplane, they're going to turn around and go back. They're not going to fly the whole flight, more than likely, unless, like, Hartford is a maintenance base, and I'm sorry, Norfolk is a maintenance base and Hartford isn't. Then maybe it is beneficial to fly low and try to complete the flight so we can get it somewhere that can be fixed. Okay, so the burn is 7.8 if we fly the whole flight at Actually, it's closer to 7.9. So 7.9 on the fuel. It does drastically increase the ETD or the ETE. Just checking our speed. So I think we have the fuel to do it. Let's see, our reserve is 3.3. I'm not a math person. I'm not going to do math in my head on a live stream. So, let's see, 7862 plus 3264 is 11.1. We took off with 11.9. So, we actually have the fuel to do it and meet our not burn into our reserves. And it gives us, let's see, 800 pounds of extra fuel to play with. So we'll continue. We know we got the fuel to do it. So the next challenge is pretty much flying this whole damn flight in manual thrust. So let's see, if we go to flex, engage auto thrust, and there we go. Okay, so auto thrust is now working. We got speed. Now I don't know what speed that SimBrief is calculating at 10,000 feet for. True airspeed 350, ground speed 356. Our ground speed right now is 342, so it's close enough. So we'll just maintain this 300. Alright, well, this is interesting nonetheless. So after takeoff checklist, landing gears up, flaps retracted, bleeds, packs are set, and APU is off. Another thing I guess you could maybe do is recycle the packs and see if that was causing any issues. Condition. Pressure. The packs look like they're working. Alright, so we'll just stay here. We'll go ahead and probably set up for our arrival. Nah, we'll come to that in a little bit. So, Breeze Airways. As you can see, that's who we're flying today. Hopefully they're having a smoother operation than what we're going through today. So let's talk a little bit about Breeze. Breeze is a brand new airline for those of y'all who haven't heard about them. I can get back in the cockpit. Change all this. So I pulled up some stuff online from their website. One thing that I found interesting that they do is you can change or cancel your flight up to 15 minutes prior to departure without any kind of penalty. Don't think anybody else is doing that. I don't know why they do this. Maybe with COVID, or maybe they're just trying to do something that stands out. Maybe that's like their, like Southwest does, free checked bags, and all that. Maybe this is their free check bags, like Southwest kind of thing. They are a low airfare carrier, and this is their route map. So today we're operating Hartford to Norfolk, and we'll come back to this. We'll click on it, see if it takes us to an interactive map. Pretty sure they got one. So they say straight to the point. Our point-to-point network means no connections for an easier, quicker, and nicer journey. Sure, as long as you go where people want to go. They do talk about they serve underserved cities. A lot of these I can see being underserved, like Tulsa, probably for sure. Fayetteville, Arkansas, Huntsville. A lot of these are still relatively common, like have a lot of carriers going to them, like Hartford. I know they got Southwest, American, United, Spirit, quite a few. Providence is probably underserved. Richmond, Norfolk may not be as much. Anyways, they say that they do their point-to-point networks, so there's no connections, and they go to underserved cities. So cool. I'm sure this will be changing as they grow as an airline. Obviously, they're brand new. Right now, they operate Embraer 190s or 195s. I think they're leasing them, and then once they start getting their 220s, maybe they'll get rid of the Embraer fleet. But they do have A220s coming, which I do like. I don't know a whole lot about the A220, but it's a sexy airplane, and I would love to learn it. So the bag pricing. So every airline has like their own little way of doing stuff, and Spirit is obviously a la carte. I think Frontier's a la carte. Southwest, you get 2 free bags. Delta, it's not a la carte, but you do have to pay bag fees, that kind of stuff. So let's see what Breeze does. So if you book your carry-on bag online, it's $20. If your flight, now this is interesting, I haven't seen this before. If your flight is longer than 3 hours, then it's $25. That's probably because you're burning more gas on longer flights, and the added weight is going to increase fuel burn even more so. If you book your carry-on bag at the airport, it's $50. It's $30 more. And if team members book it for you, like they book your carry-on bag, it's also $50. So basically, if you're trying to be cheap, you better do everything online. Overweight and oversized bags. So this is in addition to the bag price itself. 51 to 71 pounds is $20. 71 to 99 pounds is $50, and then 63 to 80 overall inches, as far as the size of your bag, is $50. So if you're carrying a big ass empty suitcase, it's going to cost you $50 extra. Don't know if I really agree with that. I kind of think it should all be based off of weight, not the size, because I don't care how big a bag is. If it's not increasing my fuel burn, who cares? Seat assignments. The nice seat is $10 to $30 more, so I'm guessing this is just a passenger preferred. And then nicer is $20 to $50. Maybe that's like a big front seat kind of thing compared to Spirit. Optional services. Pet in the cabin is $75 one way. Oh, that's interesting. Airport printed boarding pass, $3. So if you don't use the app and use your boarding pass on the app, it's going to cost you $3. Assistance by guest empowerment team is $9 per guest. Goodness. So if you go to the airport and you booked everything, like you booked your flight online, and that's all you did. Maybe you're an older person or something, and you're not too good with technology, because I used to see that a lot whenever I worked customer service for Delta. you go to the airport, go to the ticket counter, and you get them to check your bag in. So now you're going to be paying a lot more. So your checked bag would be $50. If it's not overweight, then it's just $50. If say it's a heavy bag, now you're looking at $70 for the bag. Then just the passengers helping you out is another $9, so that's $79. And then they print your boarding pass for you. It's another $3, so now you're at $82. So all $82 on top of your ticket price just because some folks helped you out. Now, there's some stuff to this that I can understand, like the more that people have to get help and get checked in and that kind of stuff, the more prone to problems. Probably not delays, because nobody's going to hold an airplane for a few people, especially if it's their fault, or not even so much their fault. They're just slow in the process of getting to the gate. But I think trying to have everything done online and on the app with very little interaction with customer service will help streamline the whole process and make things quicker and smoother. So for jobs at Breeze, I do know that they are based out of like the Salt Lake City area. I think, yeah, Cottonwood Heights, Utah. So I think that's outside of Salt Lake City. Looks like they got all kinds of jobs. So if anybody's looking for a job in the aviation industry, take a look at Breeze. Now, I wouldn't expect them to be super high paying since they're a startup. I think they're kind of along the lines of a regional as far as pay goes, from what I've heard. But they offer a lot of jobs. So if you're looking for a job in the aviation industry, okay, I guess they operate both the 190 and 195. They do have 220s coming. Captain qualified first officer. Interesting. I don't know who this would be unless they're coming from Europe, because the only carriers in the US that I know of flying 220s to even be qualified at all, like to have a type rating, would probably be coming from Delta. And I doubt anybody from Delta is going to be coming over to Breeze. Let's see. Now here's what airplanes look like. Whoever painted this airplane did a really nice job. If you compare this to the picture we were just looking at, it looks pretty good. They did a nice job. Especially, I'm sure as a creator, or a painter, I mean, it's probably harder to paint a livery that is on a different aircraft for the one that you're painting it for. So kudos to the person that painted this Breeze livery. There's also an option for a metallic version of the livery that we're flying today. So yeah, so that's a little bit about Breeze. Operating Embraer 190s, 195s, soon to be A220s, based out of Salt Lake City, Utah area, or Cottonwood, Utah. And better pay for your bags online. Otherwise, you'll be paying out the ass. So right now we're just off the coast of New Jersey, flying low. So one thing on a flight like this where we're flying low that we weren't really anticipating on doing that, we want to be doing our fuel checks for sure. So let's see, we got Yazoo coming up in 35 miles. So when we cross Yazoo, we'll do a fuel check there. Let's find it on the flight plan. So at Yazoo, we should have roughly 8.5. And we're at 8.8 right now. We'll probably be overburning just a little bit. We've been off the ground now for roughly 30 minutes. The original en route time was 1 hour and 7 minutes. But due to the pressurization issues and having to fly low at 10,000 feet, now looking at roughly it was 1 hour and 21 minutes. So a little bit longer. You fly slower when you're lower, burn more gas too. Turn the seatbelt sign off. We still have the landing lights and the wing lights on since we are at 10,000 feet. But it's been smooth, so we'll let the passengers up and move around. So now let's start thinking about our arrival. Start prepping for that. Definitely had some bugs today. I don't think there's truly an issue with the pressurization, but just noted some odd things today with the airplane, like the company message not going away. Obviously the pressurization. When we took off, it went into a go-around mode, which maybe that's got something to do with the pressurization. Not really sure. Shouldn't. You know, in real life, airplanes go around and will then divert, and they'll climb up higher. Especially if the diversion airport's 200-300 miles away, they'll climb high just for the diversion. So that go-around mode that the airplane went into shouldn't affect the pressurization by any means. Ugh, I didn't mean to hit 8 estimate weather. Not on my game today, it doesn't seem like. I was kind of hoping that getting another ACARS would make this company message go away. Dang, don't even have no METARs? That's BS. aviationweather.gov. Oh, it's a windy day. Winds are 020 at 13, gusting 18. 10 statute miles. Clear skies, temperatures 22, dew point 15, altimeter's 3003. So we'll keep our altimeters this. It's 2995 until we start our descent, and then we'll bring it up to 3003. Obviously, in real life, you'd be talking to ATC, and they would give you the barometric pressure for wherever our present position is at. So for the arrival, we still got 10 miles until Yazoo, and we're supposed to have 8.5. We're now at 8.3, so obviously we're overburning a little bit, a couple 100 pounds. Not too much of a big deal. Okay, so for the arrival, we don't have a star. So once we get close, we'll go direct to Cayley, which is the initial approach fix. Obviously we got the VOR right here, so as our flight plan in the McDo sits right now, it would have us come into the VOR, and then we'd swing out and come to Cayley. We could do that, probably wouldn't be too big of an issue. See how the airplane is translating it. So exactly what I thought it would do. Hit the VOR and then swing around. It's almost like some ILS backtrack kind of procedure. So what we'll do instead is when we reach whatever that is, solid, we'll, it's 20 miles per, actually it's gonna be like 60 miles, 20 nautical miles till decel, and then 42 miles. So we'll go towards Norfolk, and then once we get close, we'll just pull heading and fly the downwind parallel to the runway, and then from there, once we get parallel to Cayley, then we'll just go direct Cayley and do it that way. Alright, so we crossed Yazoo. We're at 8 point, probably a little bit closer to 8 point. This is showing 8.1 or 8140. We're probably a little bit closer to 82. So right now overburning by about 300 pounds. I want to keep an eye on that. Because I think 11.1 total burn is our trip and reserve. Gave us about 800 pounds of extra to play with, so for burning, so now we've got about 500 pounds of extra to play with. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that. So for the arrival, we'll be shooting ILS runway 5, frequency is 109.1, final approach course is 47 degrees. Our final approach fix is PA, I guess, at 1600 feet, MSL, which is 1574 off the ground. Our decision height is 200 feet off the ground. Touchdown zone elevation is 26 feet. If we go missed, climb to 2000, direct CCV VOR, which is Cape Charles. What we'd actually probably do is go around on runway heading and then swing it back around, try again. So is a standard 3 degree glide slope. We've got a approach lights with Pappy on the left, and again if we go missed, climb to 2000, then we'll just swing it back around. Our minimums for today, 200 foot ceilings and half-mile viz. Obviously we've got 10 statute miles and clear visibility on the current METAR, so I don't anticipate this being an issue. For landing, again, we've got a Pappy on the left, approach lights, we've got high intensity runway lightings, center line lighting. It's grooved runway. For landing, we got 8,000 feet of runway. We do have a special note. Okay, landing distance available is 2809 or 7809. Okay, so this is showing 9,000. We've got a displaced threshold. So from here to here is our actual landing distance available. Well, I guess touchdown zone. So landing distance available is 7809. And the runway is 150 feet wide. Once we land, we'll want to exit to the left. Since the terminal is to the left, we'll plan to exit probably Taxiway Hotel, and then Charlie into the ramp. Weather is not a factor. Terrain is not a factor. And I'll say, well, that should complete our approach briefing. My beer almost slipped out of my hand. So, since we are planning the ILS, we'll arm our push buttons, and we'll make sure that the frequency is in the box, and it is 109.10. We'll just cross-check that with the plate. It's correct. And we'll put CCV into VOR number 2, and we'll put ORF into number 1. Cool. Just off the southern edge of New Jersey there. So on the descent, everything's going to happen a little bit faster since we are flying at only 10,000 feet due to our pressurization issues. Having to do our approach brief, or actually we've already done our approach brief, so that's good. We're well ahead of that. But doing our approach checklist and getting the aircraft ready for the approach will happen much faster. We'll start our descent a lot later. Obviously, if you're flying at 38,000 feet, you want to start your descent at like 120, 125 miles out. At 10,000 feet, you know, if you started a descent 120 miles out, we'd be in the water pretty quickly. Or you'd have to like descend extremely slow, which you'd still probably like wouldn't. So we're going to start our descent. I don't even know. So our initial approach fix is at 2,100 feet. So we'd have to lose 8,000 feet from our cruise altitude. You know, something I just thought about, should probably do. Should probably tell the airplane that we're flying this low. This is cruise. So yes, we got to lose 8,000 feet from where we are currently to that fix. So we won't start until, shoot, maybe 30 miles out. That would be our top of descent. It's 30 miles from the airport. Which is pretty crazy to think about in an Airbus. Alright, so we just crossed Warren. And let's do another fuel check. At Warren, supposed to have 76. We've got 74. If we're rounding up. So it's not too bad. It's pretty consistent, which is what we want to see in an adverse situation like this. You know, I was thinking about doing another leg after this, going from Norfolk down to New Orleans, but seeming how we've got a issue with the pressurization, don't think that's going to happen, or at least if anything, it'll be delayed. Maybe that's another stream to do a little bit later in the day. I don't know. We'll see. It's a longer flight. It's about longer than this. Longer than what this was planned. This was planned at 1 hour and 7, I think. Norfolk to New Orleans is roughly 2 hours. Imagine flying that at 10,000 feet. I mean, Neo could do it, and you could carry enough fuel for that. So we're gonna go auto brake low since we've got enough runway and it's dry and it's grooved. So stopping won't be any issue. Let's put in performance on for our arrival. So wind is, we'll go transition out to first. Wind, where'd it go? 020 at 13. Temperature's 22. And the altimeter is 3003. Our minimums is 200 feet. Alright, so that is set. So we've got 123 miles left on our flight plan. We'll start our descent around 30 miles out. And that should give us enough room to get down to 2,100 feet for our initial approach fix. If you're just now stopping by, welcome to the stream. Today we are flying Breeze Airways flight 401 from Hartford, Connecticut over to Norfolk, Virginia. Had a bit of an issue on takeoff. actually not even on takeoff, but on the climb out, across through 10,000 feet, we got a master warning for pressure, or cabin pressure altitude. Couldn't resolve it. We tried going into manual. Still couldn't get the cabin pressure to increase. So we are currently flying at 10,000 feet. We ran some numbers in SimBrief, and we have the fuel to make it to our destination with about 500 to 800 pounds of extra fuel to play with. So right now we're just cruising at 10,000 feet, and about 90 miles or so we'll start our descent down into Norfolk. We've completed our approach briefing, determined our landing performance. Everything is pretty much set up. Just got to cover the next 90 miles and we'll start our way down into Norfolk. Noticed quite a few bugs today with the development version of the fly-by-wire. First issue is I noticed that this company message from the ACARS will not extinguish. On takeoff, we had an issue. We departed in a runway heading, and somehow, I guess maybe that triggered a go-around mode instead of just a heading departure mode on the airplane. So the airplane was doing a bunch of really weird stuff. It put us in runway track, which is the indicator of the go-around mode. Auto thrust wouldn't maintain speed. It was exceeding any selected or managed speed that we had in there. It was all really wonky. And then climbed to 10,000 feet. We got our cabin pressure master warning. So today it's been a rough stream. It's been a weird one, but we're just going to hammer on through it. Get the plane on the ground so that maintenance can fix the cabin pressure, and maybe come back a little bit later today and hopefully run a second leg on this Breeze Airways aircraft. Let's take a swig of beer and we'll do some cinematic shots of this pretty airplane. Breeze Airways, we're flying as a breeze. But if you don't book your bags online, you're gonna pay like a son of a bitch at the airport. And then flying's not a breeze anymore. Breeze Airways. Maybe I should be the new spokesperson. So 60 more miles until top of descent. Now also to keep in mind, the flight plan has us going over Norfolk and swinging around to the initial approach fix. We're not going to be doing that. There is some extra mileage in there, in that flight plan as it sits. So keep that in mind as well. So maybe 40 miles we'll start our way down, since we'll be cutting out some of that mileage. I'd rather get low sooner than later, because then you just have to extend your downwind to bleed off a lot of that altitude if you don't. So let's see, we are 10 miles from Dunphy. At Dunphy we'll do another fuel check. Supposed to have 6.4. So I don't know if this happened in real life and we had to fly this flight at 10,000 feet. I guess you could always make it like 10,001 feet. Let's see if the airplane screams. So if you go 10,100, then I guess you could. There's that message. I guess you could then fly faster than 250 knots. Because it just dawned on me that we were flying this entire flight at 10,000 feet, where there's technically a 250 knot speed restriction, and we've been flying at 300 knots indicated, which has been roughly 350 knots ground speed as well as true airspeed. And the airplane just wants to keep on climbing instead of stopping where it's supposed to. And we'll level off right here. It should be roughly 10,100 feet. And we'll clear out pressurization message. So we crossed Dunphy. We're supposed to have. I got distracted by the stupid altitude. Dang it. Alright, we'll do the next one at Sald. We were coming up, we were like 8 miles from Dunphy. We were supposed to have 6.4 and we were sitting at like 6.2 or something like that. So looks like we're still 200 pounds below, which is fine. I'm just glad the auto thrust worked, because I don't feel like flying this thing like no CRJ, having to manage the speed the whole time. That's another thing we need to do, is we need to take another attempt at the CRJ. I tried doing a live stream of the CRJ, had lots of issues, bailed on it completely. We need to try that again. I can't remember what the issues were. It was a long time ago. And by a long time, it could have been yesterday. I'd still not be able to remember. So 62 miles left on the flight plan. Let's go to the prog page. We'll say KORF runway 05. So we're 50 miles from the threshold. So I think 40 is a good time to start our way down. Because as you can see, sorry, I'm a little burpy after drinking some beer. All of this whole downwindish, then circle back around to the upwind thing, we're not doing any of that. I mean, sorta, but we're not gonna come to the airport and all this shit. We're just gonna, when we get close, we'll go to heading mode, and we'll fly parallel, and then direct to Kaylee. So we're shaving off probably a few miles, not a whole lot, but a few. $15 miles till top of descent. We just crossed Sald, and Sald we're supposed to have 5.6. Correction, where'd it go? I lost it. 6,000. We got 5.7 on board, so 300-pound overburn. That's okay. We had 800 extra to play with. Every little ting is gonna be all right. Gotta get me a new sim chair. Also, gotta get me a haircut. Beard's getting a little out of control. Alright, so now what is this shit doing? So the whole damn line moved to our left. Let's do direct. Kaylee, insert, no nav. Alright. Then we get a little bit closer, we'll go to heading and we'll fly parallel. So when we go parallel, what we're going to want to do is obviously fly opposite of the runway heading, which will be, we're landing on 5, which is a heading of 047, so we're going to want to fly 227, and that'll put us parallel. Make for a easier turn on the airplane because it does not like acute angles. Alright, this is pure bullshit. We're obviously not 11 miles away from the airport. We're just now, yeah, look at this. It says we're 0. Boy, this thing's confused. Alright, we'll start coming down. Go to 2,100 feet. This is the initial approach fix. Man, bugs on this thing today are not great. Do it slow so it looks realistic. Alright, don't even know where this fucking airplane's going. This thing is buggy as shit. We're not in cruise anymore, damn it. We're in descent. Let's do this. Maybe that'll tell the fucking thing that we're descending. It's starting to piss me off. Really wish Phoenix would get that 320 out so it can stop fucking with this bullshit. Now I say that lightly because I know fly-by-wire has worked their asses off to get this airplane to where it's at. But damn it, really ready for, like, you know, an airplane that works the way it's supposed to. I'm not blaming fly-by-wire at all for that, because I know it's been limitations by the simulator. Jesus, like, this is horseshit. All of today's stream has been horseshit. Like, we've told it to go direct to Kaylee, but it's still just flying direct to fucking Norfolk. So earlier, you know, we were talking about icing conditions. We have plus 11 on the static air temperature with visible moisture outside, so it's non-icing conditions. So there's Norfolk ahead of us. Obviously, we're pretty close laterally to the airport. So we'll turn this a little bit. Now we're basically just having to do what the hell the airplane wanted to do in the first place, because it wouldn't track the way it's supposed to track. So right now, I'm just gonna get a little bit of lateral separation from the airport, and then we'll get back to parallel. Somebody else is landing, at least on TCAS. I don't know if it's drawing. I don't think it's drawing the airplane.
$2,500.
I'm gonna turn the seatbelt sign on. Obviously, we're low as hell. Starting to catch some thermals from the heat off the ground. So I'm gonna get bumped around a little bit. Now we'll go heading 227, fly parallel to the runway. And final approach fix is PA at 1600 feet. So to expedite this whole process, we'll go ahead and descend to 1600. And we'll slow it down to 200 knots. So there's 1600 feet. We are roughly parallel to the fix. Go ahead and start a turn to 140. We'll just keep it coming around. Go ahead and arm the approach. Below flap 1 speed, so we'll go flaps 1. Let's call it 110 on the heading. This is to intercept the localizer. Drop the speed now to 180. 8-mile final. So everything's about to happen real fast. So it's tracking the localizer below flap 2 speed. So we'll go flaps 2 on the approach. We'll go manage speed. Actually, I'm gonna put us at 170. I want to keep manage speed going until we capture the glide slope. Glide slope, star, managed, flaps 3, gear down, arm spoilers.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Flaps full. Alright, we're going to skip the approach checklist. 3003 is the altimeter. Actually, we'll do it. Briefings complete. Approach stable by 1,000 feet. ECAM status is checked. Seatbelt signs on. Minimums 200 set. Engine anti-ice 1 and 2 is off. Altimeters 3003 set. Approach checklist complete. Landing checklist. Cabin crews advised. Auto thrust speed. Auto brakes low. ECAM landing all green. Gears down. Signs on auto. Ground spoilers are on. Flaps full. Landing checklist is complete. My airplane. Missed approach altitude set. And the day's been a rough one. Here we go.
Five hundred. 400. 400. 400.
400.
100 above 300. 100 above 300. 200.
Continue. That was minimums. It should have said minimums. Aim at the piano keys.
100.
Flare at 30.
50. 40. 30. 20.
I had a little too early, so I was probably going to
10.
increase.
5.
Yeah. Kind of butter it. There we go. 144 is alright. Spoilers, reverse green, and decel. Wow. Dude. Oh, did y'all see that? It's like just stuck. It just stopped. Something's big time up. Okay. Clean up the airplane. Spoilers would be retracted. Flaps would be retracted. TCAS auto. TA. Flight directors ILS. Constraints VORs. I don't know who this truck is. He ain't even in the way. And we got the timer running for a 3-minute cooldown. Oh, now you want to move. Should know that Ryan gonna start the APU. Does it have to take 3 minutes just to turn the... Actually, I guess we wouldn't need the bleed. Since they're not starting any engines. Flaps open. What do you mean slow down? Bitch, I'm already going slowing down. Or going slow. Oh, I guess he's missing a stick. She's missing a stick. Alright, parking brake set. APU's online. We have our 3-minute cooldown for the engines. Not yet. Give it another 15 seconds. And there's 3 minutes. Well, folks, that was a rough one today, but nonetheless we made it, even with all of the issues with the airplane that we had today. But we made it. We'll hook up the jet bridge, and we're going to give maintenance a call. What? Maybe that's the person that just comes with the Scenery? Interesting. Anyways, we'll give maintenance a call, see if we can't resolve this cabin pressure issue that we're having. And if so, maybe we'll get us another stream in tonight or later today. But as always, want to thank you for stopping by. Did not kill the lights like I should have. Takes a lot longer for that cargo door to open up. Like, not even the length and time in which it takes to like physically open, but like how long it takes for it to start opening. But as always, thanks guys for those of you who stopped by. I really appreciate it. Sorry today's was such a weird, problematic flight, but hey, it's like real life aviation. This kind of stuff happens. I see it all the time at work, and you handle the punches as they come. So thanks everybody for stopping by who did, and for those of you who watch the stream on playback. And I hope that I somehow, even after today's crappy stream, earn your like and your subscription. And until the next one, guys, everybody have a good one. See y'all later.